The movie begins with a group of couples visiting a remote island for a couples retreat, hoping to mend their relationships. However, the island is home to a mythical creature called the succubus, which mimics their likeness and seduces them to their deaths. During dinner, the couples receive chokers from the masked employees. Elisha, the spokesperson, informs them that the chokers will be a necessary element of the test. The sensors in the chokers will help determine if anyone is lying. The retreat organizer and voice behind the altar promises to restore the passion in their relationships through various tests and explains that interaction with each other is essential for the retreat's success. Tamar announces that the couples will receive envelopes containing their tasks. As she distributes the first envelopes, Tamar instructs them to answer the questions with complete honesty. Tamar orders Kate to be the first to undergo the test, and Kate complies. The envelope asks her if other men excite her more than Nick, but she denies it. Tamar claims Kate's answer is a lie, but Kate remains firm. As Tamar repeatedly tells Kate she is lying, Kate begins to lose her temper. Elisha urges her to calm down and tell the truth, but stubborn Kate tries to leave, only to be stopped by the masked guards. Stacy expresses her disapproval of the pressure on Kate, but Elisha insists Kate must tell the truth. Nick allows Kate to be honest, and she admits that he doesn't excite her. Elisha then orders Stacy to read her question, but Stacy refuses. She questions the purpose of the gathering, suspecting it is meant to mock them. When no one responds, she turns to Michael for his opinion, but an undead version of her lover attacks her. Moments later, Stacy awakens inside a labyrinth. Hearing a strange sound, she follows it and discovers a small hollow containing a flashlight in an envelope. The envelope instructs her to find her partner to escape. As Stacy searches for Michael, she notices a figure passing by and heads in its direction, hoping it will lead her to Michael. Instead, she finds an old, strange mirror. Investigating the area, she unknowingly sees her reflection captured by the mirror. Suddenly, she hears another noise and turns around to see Andy approaching. At that moment, Stacy hears more noises coming from the mirror and checks it, seeing her reflection having an intimate moment with Andy. Confused, she realizes it is actually Andy's doppelganger who begins to undress and entice her. Disgusted, Stacy throws the flashlight at the mirror, causing Andy's doppelganger to disappear. Meanwhile, the real Andy awakens alone in the labyrinth. He approaches a basket of apples and finds an envelope and a flashlight. The envelope urges him to find his partner to escape. Back in Stacy's situation, she enters a room where vintage items like a pocket watch and a monocle are hanging on a branch. Using the monocle, she sees a sinister apparition and, frightened, uses it again to get a closer look. This causes her to flee and hide. Stacy finds a bracelet bearing her name, which makes her happy, but her joy is short-lived when she hears a beeping sound from a nearby hollow. Inside, she discovers car keys, but when she retrieves them, an undead hand grabs her. Terrified, Stacy quickly escapes the hollow and finds Nick, who hears her screams and finds her in a weakened state. Meanwhile, Stacy frantically runs through the labyrinth and encounters Michael. She asks if he has seen anything strange, and he confirms. During their conversation, Nick and Kate appear, causing concern due to Kate's alarming state. They decide to find a way to escape, but Olivia stops them, urging them to follow her because Andy knows the exit. Outside the labyrinth, Olivia confronts Elisha about Jen and Javier's whereabouts. Elisha informs her that the couple passed the test first and returned earlier than the rest. Stacy interrogates Elisha, suspecting that their drinks were spiked, but Elisha dismisses the idea. That night, Stacy asks Michael about his experience in the labyrinth. Michael reveals he saw a scenario where G was seducing him. He asks Stacy if she experienced something similar, and she denies it. Michael suggests leaving, worried about the stress affecting Stacy, but she declines. Stacy reveals that her twin sister Melissa has disappeared on the island, and they are at the retreat to find her. Curious, Michael wonders how she knows Melissa was on the island. Stacy explains that she found a map among her belongings. Meanwhile, in Olivia and Andy's room, Andy initiates making love, but Olivia refuses. Olivia stresses the need to learn to trust him, and Andy urges her to move on, reminding her of his apology for his infidelity. Despite her initial refusal, Olivia succumbs to Andy's seductive charm. During their intimacy, Olivia sees Stacy's reflection in the mirror with Andy, which makes her uncomfortable. She abruptly ends the moment and confronts Andy, who appears to be looking elsewhere. He assures her his focus is on her, but Olivia's paranoia makes her distrustful. Olivia catches a glimpse of Stacy outside the window, which she interprets as another sign of Andy's unfaithfulness. Andy denies involvement with Stacy, but Olivia's paranoia clouds her judgment. That night, Stacy awakens from a nightmare and is transported back to the day she had to cancel her anniversary dinner with Michael. Michael was furious that she chose to go to work instead of spending the evening with him. In Stacy's defense, she is a workaholic ethnographer who needed to discuss important data with her colleague. Michael chastised her for prioritizing work over their relationship. Melissa, who was staying over after a terrible breakup, overheard their argument. Overcome by the intense memory, Stacy leaves the room to take a breather. Suddenly, Andy appears and confronts her, asking if she was at their window while he and Olivia were making love. Stacy denies it, but Andy doesn't believe her. He mentions seeing her in the labyrinth, piquing her interest. She asks if he saw her in the mirror, but Andy dismisses the idea, revealing instead that he saw her standing bare in front of him. Stacy persistently denies being that person and begins to recount a similar encounter she had the following day. The next day, Michael confronts Stacy about her interaction with Andy, stirring intrigue among the retreat members. She tries to explain the situation, but Michael dismisses her. At that moment, Elisha appears and gives the couples their new task. They are instructed to spend the day with someone else's partner to appreciate the significance of their own partner. Tamar informs them that Kate and Javier have already left. As they prepare to leave, Stacy notices the keys on Elisha's belt. Shortly after, Stacy is paired with Andy and convinces him to follow her to room 11 using the key she obtained from the labyrinth. She easily opens the room and instructs Andy to wait outside. Inside, Stacy finds a mysterious box containing a potion wrapped in paper. She examines the drawing on the paper and realizes it depicts the same hallway in the villa. Turning to leave, she bumps into Andy, who is concerned about her. He asks about the drawing, and Stacy explains it belongs to her sister. She reveals that this room was also her sister's before she disappeared on the island 3 months ago. Andy wonders why she didn't involve the police, and Stacy explains she lacks evidence. Andy asks about her plan, and Stacy expresses her need to get the key from Elisha, requesting his help. Curious, Andy inquires why her sister is on the island, but Stacy can't answer. Reluctantly, she admits that she has been Melissa all along. Returning to their room, Melissa reads Stacy's journal, which reveals that Stacy had come to the island to search for the cult worshipping the demon R.Lily. The journal further explains that the demon, known as the succubus, tempts its prey by shape-shifting to awaken their evil virtues. Once lured into its trap, the succubus captures their souls, leading to their demise. Stacy had discovered a way to expel R. through ancient texts, specifically a potion called the Dead Water of Babylon, which she had concocted by deciphering a spell. With this knowledge, Melissa opens the cabinet to retrieve the potion. As she prepares to leave, an old photograph falls from the journal. Confused, Melissa notices that the subject appears to be G from the 19th century. Flipping the photograph, she reads that it is actually Tamar, who bought the island in 1899. Meanwhile, Jin, who is paired with Michael, seduces him with the ulterior motive of making him a sacrifice. She pushes Michael onto the bed and pricks him with thorns hidden beneath the sheets. Similarly, R. in Kate's form, seduces Nick, leading to his downfall as the succubus consumes him. A weakened Michael returns to their room and informs Melissa of Jin's malevolent actions. Melissa takes him to Olivia and Andy's room, urging them to leave the island and warning them about R.'s presence. To prove her point, she shows Michael's injury, similar to Kate's. Michael reveals that Jin is behind his wound, allowing Melissa to reveal her true identity as Tamar, a succubus worshipper who offers sacrifices to the demon. Outside the villa, the group encounters Jin and her followers. Jin forbids them from leaving, declaring that she wants them to serve her. She reveals that she sacrificed Javier to keep the succubus on the island. Unremorseful for the lives she has sacrificed, Jin believes that the unfaithful and sinful deserve such a fate. Overcome with guilt, Michael leaves the group and joins Jin. As Jin prepares to perform a sacrificial ritual, Michael attacks her from behind and drives a knife into her chest. Jin dies, and her followers meet the same fate. Severely weakened, Michael passes away inside the villa. Andy suggests they flee the island quickly, but Melissa refuses, determined to free her sister and the other captives from the succubus's control. She urges the group to leave, but Olivia insists on helping her defeat the succubus. Agreeing, Melissa uses Stacy's journal to devise a plan. They gather 3 mirrors to weaken the succubus and prepare the potion. During their search, Andy encounters Ardot's captives trapped on the labyrinth walls, but Olivia rescues him using a mirror she obtained. Once the mirrors are arranged, they plan to lure the succubus into their trap. Olivia encourages Andy to kiss Melissa passionately, emphasizing that he must surrender to temptation to make it effective. Reluctantly, Andy complies while Olivia leaves to avoid interrupting them. The pair hears Olivia scream, causing alarm. Andy volunteers to check on her, instructing Melissa to confront the succubus in his absence. The succubus, now in Andy's form, arrives at Melissa's location. She uncovers the mirrors, and Ardot follows suit. Just in time, Andy reveals the last mirror, signaling Melissa to throw the potion at the succubus. The potion inflicts pain on the creature, enraging it. Ardot attempts to pounce on Melissa, but the mirrors trap him, revealing his hideous appearance. Suddenly, the mirrors shatter, and the torches go out. Melissa and Andy find themselves surrounded by a horde of Ardot's captives. As the horde heads towards Ardot, Stacy alerts Melissa to her presence. Melissa and Andy decide to set Ardot on fire, using Molotov cocktails to burn the creature. With Ardot defeated, Stacy approaches Melissa, bringing her to tears. The following morning, the remaining survivors find the cult's helicopter. Olivia expresses her desire to rekindle her relationship with Andy, and he agrees. Melissa, however, refuses to leave as she left Stacy's journal behind. Andy volunteers to retrieve it, and Melissa gratefully accepts. Before he leaves, he expresses his wish to meet her again. Returning to the villa, Andy passes by a mirror, causing it to crack. Later, he boards the helicopter with an unreadable expression and flies away.